hurricane, a tidal wave. Essence perfect, life looks brilliant. Give me more of this. I'm out of control, about to blow, and I've been caught in the undertow. So toxic, but I can't get enough. You're burying me, burying me. Yeah, you're burying me, burying me. You've got me hypnotized, push me out of myself. You've got me hypnotized. I can see, I can hear, going crazy for the light. It's got me hypnotized. You've got me hypnotized. Can get you out of my hand again. Is it wrong? Is it right? It's like I've won my final war without a fight. I'm out of control, about to blow, and I've been caught in the undertow. So toxic, but I can't get enough. You bury me, bury me. I know you bury me, bury me. You've got me hypnotized, push me out of myself. You've got me hypnotized. I can see, I can hear, going crazy for the light. It's got me hypnotized. You've got me hypnotized. You get you out of my head, get you out of my head again.
Never gonna stop, never gonna change, never gonna do the things you say. Run my own way to get there. Force a calling that the I seem to care. In the air, no more crowd, just the opposite kind of few clouds. So tell me the storm is coming, for the sake of all your lies. Why don't you try to be wise? Now that I need you anyway. I never wanted to be alive, just to feel like I'm fading. And though my heart breaks, I'll beat it down. I crossed the lines just to tell you. Don't lead the way, don't even say that I turn with a just play in the rain. I feel like I'm fading. We don't need no sleep because the party don't stop. So put your hands on me and turn me on, turn me up. We don't need no sleep because the party don't stop. So put your hands on me and turn me on, turn me up.
And boom, just like that, it's Thursday night, and you know what that means. It's party time with us, the Video Bros. I'm Bobby Munson, and that man right beside me, he's the man with the angelic voice. He's Mr. Papa Smokes. Papa Smokes, happy Thursday. How you doing, brother?
Woo, happy Thursday to you, Munson. I'm doing all right. I'm happy to be here. Another episode of Ring Respect Radio. It wouldn't just be a Thursday without it, would it?
It would not. And you bet, there might be a few people wondering why there was a little bit of a change up here tonight. We did advertise that this was supposed to be the trip through the territories, but due to a little scheduling, unforeseen business and stuff like that, plans sometimes change, Pop Spoke. So we did the old Ring Respect pivot. And we're going to bring you tonight to talk about PPW's Double Arm-Draggin show. And we're going to bring you that very special trip through the territories next Thursday night with our special guest, Astrid Pizarro. I'm looking forward to having Astrid on the show next Thursday night there, Pop.
Yeah, so am I. We've worked together a few times on this show, and always a big fan of the Trip Through the Territory series. Love those ones, and I especially love when we get to have a guest, someone that can provide some expertise on our topic, as Astrid will do.
You bet she's going to be able to do that. As we say hello to our chat for the night here, Papa Smokes, we got Bassers up in the house. Good evening to two of the best men out there. Favorite Thursday night tradition. Yes, and don't be shy, everybody. Go and tell the world about Ring Respect Radio. Let's get everybody, get your friends, your family, your pets, your pets. Get them all in here. Come join us for Ring Respect. BDJ's up in the house, Papa Smokes. He's saying, what's up, boys? The trip's going to be huge, but we're going to have to take that trip next week. In the meantime and in between time, we're going to take you on a trip talking about a little bit of PPW this week. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it's right around the corner, Papa Smokes. Saturday, February the 22nd, the very first Prairie Pro Wrestling show of 2025. It is Double Arm-Draggin. Papa Smokes, where we left off back in December, there's a whole lot to unfold leading into this show. A lot of big things. We've got a new champion. We've got our tag team champion sitting at the top of the card, and we've got everybody on that roster looking to get themselves into that scene. They want the gold, Papa Smokes. And here we go. The chat is just popping here. Hello, legends. Yeah. Excited for the House of Dragons. Yes, the House of Dragons, the Double Arm Dragons, all that wonderful stuff. Mick Wigan, my friend, how are you doing this evening? Ed Fries is in the house. Joined us last week on Ring Respect Radio. Talk about chaotic wrestling. Just stopping by to say hi. Leave a like. Appreciate it. There you go, Ed. Really love having you here. I got the new Yes, so I've got
it already.
Yeah. Oh, man. No, I don't know if he got it. He's got it on pre-order. I think they're still on pre-order until, if I'm not mistaken, the 20th. I'm pretty sure it's the 20th. Now, don't quote me on that, because if we get it wrong, you know that jerk El Assassino is going to hop in here one of these days. He's going to start cussing me out. He's going to give me the fuck you Munson treatment that he loves to give me all the time. So go out there and show El Assassino just how much you hate him by buying one of those shirts and then ripping it up in front of his stupid face. That's how I first did. Papa Smokes, did you order an El Assassino shirt yet?
No, I have not yet. I was hoping to get one in person, but we'll see about that.
I think it's pre-orders. You might want to reach out to your good friend Assassino there and check in on that.
I don't got a pre-order nothing, Munson.
You know how you got special treatment there. You and El Assassino, buddies for life. I get it. McWigan saying, I'm good, lads. Just watching it work. Can't wait till we're all together again. Likewise. And again, for those of you who don't know, the seating is all sold out for this show. Are we shocked, Papa Smokes? Are we surprised, Papa Smokes, that seats only lasted 6 days going into this thing? Of course not. Seats are sold out, and people have been asking. They've been wondering. We've made the announcement, but just in case you're watching this show, you didn't read, you can't read, whatever it is that you haven't done yet to find out what's going on with tickets, I'm going to give you the scoop right now. If you want to be a part of this particular show on Saturday, February the 22nd, you can get general admission standing room tickets. Guess where? At the freaking door, people. It's going back old school. You better line yourselves up. Get out in that weather. I checked the weather, Papa Smokes. We're going to get past this frozen tundra into some decent weather here for Double Arm-Draggin. So the people will be happy. Line up early, because I believe we're opening the doors early to this show as well, too. Make sure you don't miss out to get your chance to be a part of Double Arm-Draggin on Saturday, February the 22nd. I think eventually we'll get back to having tickets at some location for sale again too, Papa Smokes. But for this particular show, you're going to be buying them at the door. So get there early. Do not miss out, because it's going to sell out, as always.
Oh, going old school too. And, you know, there's so many advantages to buying them online, your tickets in advance, well in advance, of course. But I like the style of the people that just come to the door and say, give me a wrestling ticket, baby. I don't even care if I get a seat. I'm just coming in. I'll stand at the barrier. I'll stand in the back. I like Boris McGuigan there, all 6'6" of them standing against the wall. I love these people that come in for the standing room. I love it.
Oh, it's going to be a riot, Papa Smoke. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. Looking forward to it. And we might as well start talking about some of the things that people can expect, what we had happen back at the previous outing as well, too. What do we got here? Basser saying stuff that he shouldn't be saying. Oh, no. We'll allow that one. We'll allow that. Apparently, YouTube's really picky today about allowing comments through here, Papa Smoke. Apparently, you can't say fuck yeah, even though I can drop fuck yeah as many times as I want here on stream. Apparently, YouTube didn't like the fact that Basser threw a fuck yeah at the beginning of that one. So, and Boris equals too short. Oh, I don't even. Hold on here. Wait a second. What do the Short Kings say they come in at a total combined height of? I don't even know if it's quite as tall as Mick Wiggin there.
Yeah, it might not be, but the BDJ always with the comedic interludes here. Love it, man.
Yeah. And SDG saying fuck yeah. I guess this is this episode of Bring Respect Radio. So bring it on. Fuck yeah. 1'7" Oh man, this fight BDJ and STG's fun house over here on the Twitch side of things, talking about the Short Kings. We'll talk about the Short Kings here in a short little bit of time. But first, I want to talk about Papa Smokes because this Saturday, one of the matches that we have coming out on the channel, you're going to be able to see for the second time in history. It is going to be the match between Riley Cruz and Marvelous Morris Waltz. People have been waiting for them to lock up once again. These two stars on the rise. Last time out, it was Riley Cruz that was able to get the big victory over Morris Waltz. But it's been a couple of years, Papa Smokes, since that time. So this time around, it could be a lot different. And we know these two gentlemen are going to be there at Double Arm-Draggin looking for their opportunities as well, too. Before we get there, when is the next PPW live event? That is Saturday, February the 22nd, STG. We will be there. We will be filming, and we will be getting that shit ready for YouTube. Fuck yeah. Big match. Yes. Little Rascals versus Big Boris. Hilarious. But yes, I wanted to, again, going back to these two gentlemen, stars on the rise, Papa Smokes, Academy graduates from Prairie Pro Wrestling. What do you think is next? We got the match that's coming out on YouTube this Saturday, the second time they've locked up. But what is next for Riley Cruz and Marvelous Morris Waltz and their trajectory?
Well, when you look at the two matches they've had, I don't want to spoil the one that's coming out this Saturday, but they've remained fairly even throughout this time. And we've talked about it before. There's those two train together. There's a bond there in a way, but there's a rivalry also. Both of those guys started training at the same time, finished training at the same time. There's a built-in rivalry between them. And I think that even though there's a bond of some sort, they each want to get ahead of the other one. Each one of them wants to get a taste of gold in PPW before the other one. So naturally, when they go head to head, it's going to be a little bit intense. Like you say, Riley Cruz taking the first one, the second one kind of evening things up a bit. I don't think they're done with each other yet. I think they want to go head to head a little bit more. I'm sure that they're each wanting to do other things and work other opponents in PPW. This has got to get finished first. I wouldn't call it a straight out feud, but it's a rookie rivalry. Each one wants the higher spot in the company, and they're willing to make the other one pay to get it.
Yeah, and we shall see what is in line for them at Double Arm-Draggin, but you can definitely check out that second match between these two coming out on the channel this Saturday afternoon. Boris McWiggy coming in. I don't think Morris likes to be associated with the riffraff of Riley. Riley's got the rock star style that rubs classy Morris the wrong way. I would agree with that, but it seems like everybody on the roster rubs Marvelous Morris Waltz the wrong way, Papa Smokes. He doesn't seem to care who it is that gets in his way. He's just looking to fight his way to the top.
That's the winner's mentality, and that's what Morris Waltz has too. You and I watched his very first match in PPW, one of his first matches of his career. You could see it. He's got something. It still needs to be polished and developed a little bit, but you could see right off the bat, there's a spark. He's got that personality. He's got that skill in the ring. He's got that martial arts background as well. he's a special talent, and I've called him PPW's blue chip stock for a reason. He's the one that's going to keep paying the company back every appearance he does by impressing the crowd and just making believers out of all of us.
Yeah. Bass asking, he says he got a bad memory, wants to know who Mark is taking on as his first challenger. We will talk about Mark and the PPW championship here towards the end of the program, so stay tuned. We definitely want to get to that eventually, talking about some of the youngsters. Let's talk about the tag division, Papa Smokes, because the tag division obviously red hot. We crowned tag champions for the first time ever at the Ring of Horrors 3. The Short Kings becoming the first ever Prairie Pro Wrestling Tag Team Champions, a successful tag team title defense at the last show out at Seasons Beatings. And they said, they made it very clear, they are going to be fighting champions, willing to take on all comers. We also saw that there is still bad blood brewing from the tag division when it comes to the Clandestine Society, when it comes to the Brotherhood. There is still two very viable, great tag teams that came up just a little bit short of being crowned the very first tag team champions that would love to take them off of the Short Kings and start a run of their own. Do you foresee either one of those teams making a claim at the next show to ask for that championship opportunity, or to maybe even be granted said championship opportunity at Double Arm-Draggin?
No, I think it's quite possible and even likely that the Brotherhood or the Clandestine Society will step up and want a match. It's kind of almost like having the challengers rematch kind of thing. This championship match was a three-way match, so let's have some one team on one team matches. Let's work it out. No shenanigans, no third team involved, no anything like that. I'd still like to get down and see who can get the job done as just in a regular tag team match, because I think the Brotherhood are extremely strong. I think Bucky McGraw, with his intelligence on the outside, is going to make the adjustments and get the Brotherhood working on what they need to do to beat the Short Kings, because they were this close last time to beating them, and they could do it again. Same thing with Clandestine Society. They know what they have to change. They know they have a good idea, at least what they need to do to beat the Short Kings, the champions. So I think that not only is the tag team division heating up, but it's hotter than ever. Now that there's a first inaugural champions, the other two teams are grumpy about that. So they want to get at the champions, and it's going to continue to be cutthroat in that division.
Yeah, and as Mick Wiggins said, not to mention you have to keep an eye on Bucky too. And again, there's a lot going on here too. Let's I mean, we're talking about those two teams in particular, but we also saw teams being formed during the time of trying to get the title shot to begin with. We saw a very impressive introduction to a team made up of Barack Karani and Sheik Akbar Shabazz during that time. We know that there's tag teams out there, Papa Smokes, lurking on the independent scene in Alberta, in BC, Winnipeg, across the board, that are all vying for their chance to make their way to Prairie Pro Wrestling. They have put their sights on the Short Kings. These guys have painted a big target on themselves now, and there is tag teams calling from all across the country, from all across the continent, that want an opportunity at the Short Kings. So not only do you have two amazing teams there that are going to be going for this, you've also got another bunch of teams that want the opportunity to make their way to PPW and do this. Is today the day that Hollywood Astrid is on the show? We originally were going to have Astrid on the show here, STG. A little bit of scheduling stuff came up. We decided that we're going to bump that show to next Thursday, so Astrid will be here with us next Thursday, and we are going to talk about PPW here tonight, sir. And yes, Winnipeg, Papa Smokes' old stomping ground. Of course, there's wrestlers out there. Everybody wants a crack at these belts. There's some sexy tag team titles there. And the Short Kings, I mean, they're great fighting champions, Papa Smokes. Let's not kid ourselves. They're going to do everything they can to keep their hands on the gold. But they have got a long list of challengers coming up. And like you said, we got two top teams in the Clandestine Society and the Brotherhood. You got to watch out for Bucky. We know that those shenanigans happen. And we know that, you know, the Brotherhood are all kinds of pissed off because the last show out, they were in singles competition. They were both, of course, the Brotherhood team themselves were escorted away from ringside after Johnny Two Fingers pulled out the managerial card on them, proving that Dixie Dragon and Jacob Creed don't have their own managerial card, but Johnny Two Fingers does. He pulled that, made them go to the back, but that did not prevent them from coming back out, beating the ever-living piss out of Cannonball Kelly, and then proceeding to disgustingly kick Johnny Two Fingers right in the chest, and he flew right across that goddamn ring, Papa Smokes.
Yeah, that was just plain nasty. And if you're going to involve the manager in your shenanigans, it's so low, especially Johnny Two Fingers, a big favorite around Saskatoon, a big favorite of the PPW crowd, and not a big guy, not a huge wrestler, not able to take and withstand the kind of punishment that guys like Jacob Creed and the Dixie Dragon can dole out, not by a long shot. So doing that, it's despicable, it's filthy, it's disgusting. And we saw how Cannonball Kelly reacted to that afterwards. He was an absolute lunatic, an absolute maniac of bitterness and pain and just lashing out, just completely snapping on everybody at ringside. It was scary, Munson. I was right there with my camera. I'm not going to lie. Cannonball Kelly, when he's in a state like that, I just wanted to get away, Munson. It got real there. And yeah, the Brotherhood, they may have gone too far this time. And God knows what Cannonball Kelly's got in mind in terms of revenge.
Awesome. You know what, Paul? Just for a second, I just want to give a shout out because we're also streaming tonight on Instagram. And I just wanted to say that Ozza from SPW is in the chat over on Instagram here. He joined up to check out the show. Ozza,
Hey,
brother, how you doing? Can't wait to see your next show coming up very, very shortly. It's going to be a banger. I mean,
on that topic, Munson, it's too bad that our names don't come up here anymore. Because since we've been palling around with some of the New Zealand guys, I changed my name on here to Papa Smoko.
Well, we could fix this, this is not an impossibility, Papa Smokes. All we have to do is we click this little button right here.
There it is.
And there we go. Papa Smoko is now on the show. Here we go. Not sure how much Ozza of the Black Light District will appreciate the name anymore, but we know that once upon a time he might have appreciated it anyway. But yeah, Papa Smokes, I want to go back to what McWiggins asking here with who would you pick for the next opportunity at the belts? And I'll start by saying I think that clearly we got two top teams that are in line first. And I want to say that I would probably reluctantly have to side with the Brotherhood getting the shot first. If they don't come up with it, if they can't get the job done this time, then I would, if I had the pull with PPW management that some people seem to think I have, I would incite a rule that if the Brotherhood do not come up with the belts, and I mean they have to win the belts, not win the match by DQ or by countout, they win the belts. If they do not only can they no longer challenge the Short Kings, but they are barred from interfering or coming down to ringside during any of the tag title matches while the Short Kings have the belts.
Well, they should be barred anyway. I'm getting sick of some of this interference going on here, but I like where you're going with this. I mean, they're going to interfere no matter what. They're called the Brotherhood for a reason. It's not ever one-on-one, anything like that. It's always going to be the Brotherhood looking out for their brothers. So there's a way to restrain them from interfering. I like this idea.
Yeah, exactly. It's the way it's got to go. And now with that said, despite who becomes victorious in a match like that, say that's the match that we do at Arm-Draggin, and I have no idea if we are doing it that. My next thing is, do we go, we probably need to go the direction of giving the fans what they really want is the Clandestine Society. The team they were initially behind in PPW, this is the team that everybody would have bet their bottom dollar on at the start to become the first tag team champions. I do believe the Clandestine Society are owed an actual proper 2v2 tag team title match at some point here very shortly.
Well, I would assume so too, and I was along with all the rest of the fans at the very beginning there when PPW first started featuring tag team matches. The Clandestine Society were the big thing. They were just the team. It really looked like they were just going to march right in there, right to be the first champions. You know, those two, Stephen Crow and Michael Richard Blaze, have a very strong chemistry between the two of them. It's beyond other tag teams. It's like they know what each other are about to do and what they are going to do. They have a whole bunch of tag team double team maneuvers that go so well. You've seen some of those high double knee drops that they set each other up for, and they've got just as good a chance as anybody of taking those belts and holding them at some point. But again, even after that, the field beneath them is still strong. There's a series of good tag teams, some that we've only seen once or twice too, that could easily step into this division and become contenders.
Yeah, you bet. This is hilarious. Got to go back to this for those who don't recall. Back in the day when I was before the PPW days, I was campaigning for BM for GM, Bobby Munson for general manager, because it just has a nice ring to it. And Mick Wiggin saying get those signs made ASAP, because here's what he's saying. If Bush Bobby was in charge, because Assassino would have been sorted out months ago. No, let me correct you here, Mr. Mick Wiggin. If Bobby Munson was in charge of the show, El Assassino would have been sorted out years ago. That guy would have been sorted out from the get-go. He wouldn't have been running his goddamn mouth. He wouldn't have been running amok all over PPW, and he sure as hell wouldn't be pushing people around unless he wanted to spend his time sitting on his goddamn couch at home watching PPW every Saturday like everybody else does, because that's exactly where that son of a bitch belongs.
Well, the Bad Bobby is coming out here. That was quite a promo, but you're on a different planet here, Munson. There's no if you're in charge of PPW. There's no Bobby putting sanctions on or disciplining El Assassino. The idea is absurd and laugh-worthy, in my opinion. Your official interactions in wrestling so far in the ring have been Assassino coming so close to slapping the taste out of your mouth until you got saved by some heroic wrestlers that came out to rescue you. Boy, Munson, you're talking out of the other side of your mouth right now.
See, the part you're forgetting, Papa Smokes, is that the interactions I've had with El Assassino have all been El Assassino talking a lot of shit, and then El Assassino still not getting his grubby paws on moi. Munson's drunk with power already. I don't guts the power, man. I don't guts the power. Bobby Stats is in the house. Bobby, how are you doing, brother? Happy to have you here. Saying you just like the video on YouTube. Appreciate you, my friend. As always, everybody like this video on YouTube. Get the word out about Ring Respect Radio. And maybe one day, I'll have a little ounce of power and I can go power hungry and run amok all over things. But that day is not in the near distant future, because for now, in the meantime, and in between time, Papa Smokes, we're still the video bros. We're still at ringside. We're still filming for this show. Will things change? Maybe. I guess you're just going to have to find out coming up in the not so distant future. But yeah, let's talk about the main. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Our video bro, our videotaping camera work was going to be temporary when we first started PPW. That was 5 years ago, Munson.
Yeah, it really was. You never know what to expect in PPW. You're damn right you never know what to expect in PPW. That's why you're supposed to be there live in person to enjoy it. And if not, subscribe to the channel and watch it every Saturday. But I'm sure there's lots planned for this year. There's a lot of great stuff planned for this year. I'm privy to some of it, Papa Smokes. I got some rumblings of things going on, but as always, I'm never gonna throw out all the cards here. Let everybody know you got to come and enjoy the show. You got to be invested in it. You got to enjoy it. I can't give away the entire ship every single time we come on screen here. But yes, it's going to be a fun time. Let's talk about that main event picture before we do. Will we see more former WWE wrestlers at PPW? Not unless they want to work for a hot dog and a handshake there, Bobby. Yes, that's about what they're going to get. Let's talk about the main event picture, Papa Smokes, because we've got so much going on right now and a big storyline to discuss. Last time out, the title was on the line. It was Michael Allen Richard Clark going up against Sheik Akbar Shabazz, the only two-time Prairie Pro Wrestling champion in history. And here it was. Sheik could not get the job done by hook or by crook this time. He was beaten fair and square right in the middle of the ring by one of the best in the industry today, Michael Allen Richard Clark, our new Prairie Pro Wrestling champion. And as Basser said earlier, who is Mark supposed to be facing? I don't know. That's the question I wanted to talk to you about, Papa Smokes, because he not only has a big target on his back from all the PPW roster, everybody who wants to make their way to PPW, but in particularly, he's got Sheik Akbar Shabazz probably thinking to himself, I deserve my rematch. You know Sheik's going to be coming out, and he's going to be declaring that he deserves the opportunity to get his shot again. He's going to want to be the three-time Prairie Pro Wrestling heavyweight champion. But we also saw that Mr. Son of a Bitch himself, the Mexican Devil, El Asesino, does not seem to be done with Michael Allen Richard Clark. They got at each other again last time out. And again, you got to wonder to yourself, Papa Smokes, El Asesino won that TLC match at the Ring of Horrors. He beat the champion, Michael Allen Richard Clark, before Clark was able to get the title. As much as I despise the actions of El Asesino, son of a bitch, he has a point to discuss why he deserves to be in that picture, I guess.
Most definitely. To speak to your first point about Sheik Shabazz, he's the kind of guy that doesn't come in and politely ask for a title shot or ask for a certain match or ask for a certain appearance. He doesn't get along with PPW management at all, and he doesn't care because it's a professional relationship. He walks in and tells them what he wants because he's the kind of wrestler around here that is perennially in the main event. So PPW needs him as much as he needs PPW type of situation. So you know that Shabazz is going to walk in to Saskatoon next Saturday and say, give me my championship rematch. I have no doubt about that. Whether PPW will grant this or not remains to be seen. But you make a strong point as well. El Asesino doesn't have the best win-loss record historically in PPW, but has been in some hellacious main events, some horrendous matches, tables, ladders, and chairs matches, all kinds of violent confrontations, and he's won some of those, including, like you say, a pinfall victory over Michael Allen Richard Clark. That certainly puts him in the upper echelon of contenders, not to mention an entire roster that would like to get their hands on the PPW champ, from T.Y. Jackson right through to Rich King, right through to Phil Deadly, right through to
Zoe.
Morris Waltz. Everybody wants a piece. That's why it's tough to be champion. You can't focus on any one guy or study up on any one contender. You got to be ready for them all.
Oh, 100%. And as Bass saying, maybe a returning Colton Kelly could take on Michael Allen Richard Clark. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what's up with Colton these days. Just wishful thinking here. I hear Mike McSugar is healthy. I've heard the same thing. I don't know. Do we see Mike McSugar making a return to PPW? I don't know. I'm not saying whether I've heard or not heard any rumblings of a Mike McSugar appearance. I couldn't tell you if I've heard anything about Mike McSugar ever making his way back to PPW. I just it's not something I could ever give up here on the channel. Just saying. Oh gosh, Zoe has pinned Mark too. Yes, only 3 people technically have pinned Michael Allen Richard Clark since we started PPW. That was, believe it or not, Levi Knight, Zoe Seger, and El Asesino. The only 3 to hold pinfall victories over our current champion. So again, you talk about Zoe. Zoe is someone who has got a very strong win-loss record. She has pinned the champion before. She has been making a name for herself all across not just Canada now, but globally with her WWE ID. Could you imagine this, Papa Smoke, if Zoe made a claim to the PPW championship matchup? Zoe becomes PPW champion. Would we see Zoe then potentially walk out onto, say, WWE's Evolve show that's coming out soon, wearing a Prairie Pro Wrestling Championship belt?
Oh, it's nice to think about. Wouldn't that be wild, eh, Munson? That would be incredible for PPW, but also in terms of wild moments or little wrestling fantasies to have. Talking about Mike McSugar, if he came back to challenge Michael Allen, Richard Clark, those two know each other very, very well, and were a tag team flex appeal for many, many years. We all know that once tag teams break up and one goes on to bigger stardom, one of his Achilles heels is his ex-tag team partner, because that guy knows all his moves and knows everything about him, all his weaknesses. That could be a very tantalizing matchup.
It very much could be, Papa Smokes. There's so many things that could be done. So many wrestlers that, we haven't even talked about the crop of wrestlers that have been making a name for themselves as well, too, in PPW as a late. I know you dropped T.Y. Jackson as a name, but we've also seen a bit of a rise of Rich King in Prairie Pro Wrestling. We've seen Dean Richter make a little bit of an impact here in Prairie Pro Wrestling upon his arrival, too. We've seen a lot of these names coming from the Alberta side, making the travel up to Saskatoon. And they've done really great. Alex Rain was an interesting one that was at a couple of shows ago as well, too. Like we're constantly looking for the next crop of independent talents to bring into Prairie Pro Wrestling once we've got spots to fill and stuff, Papa Spoke. So the door is always open to new faces, and we know that the PPW Nation love to see new faces. And I want to ask the chat as well as you, Papa Smokes, over the last, say, year or two, who do you think has made the biggest impact coming into Prairie Pro Wrestling to join our roster in the past couple of years?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. You're talking about someone coming in from outside of this province or anyone?
I'm saying who's made the biggest impact since debuting in PPW, whether or not they had a name prior in other companies or anything like that. Biggest impact since their debut of Prairie Pro Wrestling in the last 2 years.
Okay, I would say Bharat Gorani might be one of those, because I would put him near the top of the championship contenders, because that guy's had some fantastic matches, and he's a stud in our stable, so to speak. I would also say that, again, you can look to the outside for talent, but I'm a fan of developing it from within. You're a football guy, Munson. You know how valuable that is. And that's Morris Waltz and Riley Cruz, just for starters. These are the two excellent stocks we've brought up, drafted, and developed through the Prairie Pro Wrestling Academy system. So particularly proud of those two stars and the way that they not just remained at the bottom of the card, not just being the first match or not losing every match or anything like that. Both have formed an identity in PPW, formed a relationship with the fans, whether that be positive or negative, and both of them have made a splash in the roster in terms of wins and losses as well. So our homegrown talent is very important to me too.
Oh, you bet. And you know what? I'm with you on what you're saying, but I also want to go a little bit of a different direction. So when we talk about this, we can go the same direction of impact from outside. You got to make the argument for Cutthroat Colton Kelly, who came in at the same time as Barat. Their first match in PPW was against each other, and Barat's been fantastic. Don't get me wrong, but Barat's been there every single time. Colton obviously has had some injuries and stuff like that, but he did rock it all the way to the top. He did beat Sheik first. He was the second ever champion, so something has to be said for that. And when we're talking about that homegrown talent, talk about somebody who's come in at the same time as marvelous Morris Waltz, is Mr. Riley Cruz, who, you know, is getting dubbed the name Big Time Riley Cruz a lot of the time because he has been touring absolutely everywhere. Papa Smokes, this kid is all over the place. He's making a name for himself all over the Alberta scene right now, rocking and rolling, working with all sorts of crazy big names out there. So good for him as well too. And so I have to sit on that side of it and say that we also have to say Colton Kelly and Riley Cruz need to be in that argument. But again, looking to you, Chad, if you have any thoughts on that. Bastard Terminator for BEW here. He's got one more. Wasn't he supposed to retire last September? I thought we had that retirement match in Warman that was coming up there. But no, I really can't see the Terminator making his way to PPW anytime soon, ever, or at all, unless it's as a fan in the audience there, Bass. But really funny. I get what you're doing, stirring up the pot like that. Very hilarious, my friend. But
Maybe
you know,
we could
Pop
get-
Smokes. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
We could get Sarah Connor against Zoe Sager as well.
There we go. Sarah Connor and Zoe Zager. Fantastic. You know, we talked about the Wrestling Academy, Papa Smokes, and I just want to talk for a moment. Anybody who's watching, might be watching on replay, maybe stumble across this over the next little while, has been interested in getting into professional wrestling, wants to train in professional wrestling. We have the Academy for you guys. We reach out on Facebook to Prairie Pro Wrestling or the Prairie Pro Wrestling Academy on Facebook and find out how you can get involved, how you can get trained. I'm telling you, Papa Smokes, our trainers, and I don't mean to brag because we work for the company. I see it on the basis of I see what's out there. I've seen, and I'm not ragging on other companies and their training ability, but in terms of making sure that you get the fundamentals down packed and done right, making sure that you're developing yourself in a way that makes sense, that your whys are all covered when everybody asks the question, why would you be doing this? Why are you acting this way? Why would you fight this guy? Those things are all covered so that you progress perfectly. And no two PPW graduates ever seem to be the same. The movesets aren't the same. Their ability as personas are never the same. They are very different, yet at the core of it all is the fundamental values of professional wrestling that is instilled within all of the people training at the Prairie Pro Wrestling Academy.
Yeah, well said, Munson, because wrestling training, when you get down to brass tacks, it isn't just running the ropes and doing offensive maneuvers and defensive maneuvers in the ring. There's a lot more to it than that. And PPW takes kind of an old school view of it, teaching, like you said, fundamentals and basics the right way. And some of this stuff isn't used that much in wrestling anymore, not by certain companies. You should still know it because all wrestlers should know the basics of the business and the way the business works, the way the entertainment side of it works, the way the promo side of it works, the way you can fine tune your persona to be the kind of wrestler that you want to represent in the ring, and all of the sort of intangibles that need to be gone over with everybody in order to get out there and get booked. And I think the proof is in the pudding, especially when you talk about our most notable graduates so far, Morris Waltz and Riley Cruz, getting booked pretty much wherever they feel like it, across Canada and a little bit into the US as well. So thumbs up to those guys. It's hard work and everything, but it starts with good training. That's what PPW Academy can give.
Yep. Can we see Papa Smokes show us the fundamentals? I mean, I'm sure you could. I'm sure Papa Smokes knows some of them.
Lesson 1, thumb in the eye.
Thumb in the eye. I'm pretty sure that I was taught from day one. Lesson 1 is keep your eyes down and your ears open. That was and your mouth shut.
Yeah,
that was pretty much one of them. Apparently, I didn't know how to listen to the mouth shut one or anything like that because I've been running my mouth pretty hard since the good old days, since we started out here, Papa Smokes. But, you know, it is what it is. Get yourself trained. Reach out. The PPW Academy does fantastic work. Again, not only do we have those graduates, out there. Those two individuals, Tommy Gallivan, who graduated a while back, has been doing great there as well. And we know that we have got a whole slew of others. We got one that he's right on the verge, Papa Smokes. He's been there a while. He's been training. He's been doing the grind. It's only a matter of time before we see him in a PPW ring making his debut. And then we've got, like, I think 5, 6, maybe 5, anywhere between 5 and 7 brand new trainees being worked on right now, Pop Smokes, including 2 ladies wrestlers. They got 2 ladies wrestlers currently in training that we're hoping to make their way through and get to the top. And yeah, it's an exciting time for Prairie Pro Wrestling. That's why you work in sales, Bobby. No, I work in sales because I wasn't educated enough to do anything else. Who is Tommy's tag team partner at the last show? They were fired up. Jesus, who? Tommy was in a tag match at the last show? I'm trying to recall.
Not the last show, but he was with that guy that I forget his name now, Tyler something.
Well, yeah, no, he was with Tyler Adams at the one show for sure. I'm trying to remember. I thought Gallivan was in singles action at the season's beating show, if I'm not mistaken. I'm just kind of looking at the list of matches here. Maybe McWiggin remembers. McWiggins got an impeccable memory. Yeah, he fought Rich King at the last show. Yeah, it was Rich King versus Tommy Gallivan 1-on-1 at the last show. The tag partner was, Tommy hasn't tagged up since he was with Tyler Adams there. Yeah, went to show before, so it probably would have been a couple shows ago when he teamed up with Tyler Adams. I'm pretty certain of that. Got to be that. Anyway, I don't know. It's tough to remember sometimes, but it's been Tyler Adams. There you go. You know him, Bass. We've seen him at BEW enough times. We know who he is. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on with the Academy, a lot going on with the shows. I can tell you now that this show is going to go down in a couple of weeks' time, and then April's not too far around the corner, Papa Smokes, and we're going to have another show coming up in April as well too. It's about every 6 to 8 weeks throughout the calendar year. I've got all the dates already sent to me for what we're doing this year. It's going to be smoking. I think I called Dean Richter Rich King for a match once, so I don't know about asking me. Oh man, I'll make sure that Dean Richter and Rich King get the message that you get the two of them mixed up there. I'm sure they'll be pleasantly pleased to hear that one. For sure. Oh, fantastic! But yeah, I mean, Papa Smokes. I mean, more than anything, the matches are going to be fun. The beer is going to be cold. The excitement's going to be high, but I'm excited to be amongst the PPW Nation, the fans, these wonderful people that we've got in the chat that are going to be there live, the people that are going to be there live that we know have got their tickets already, the ones that are going to buy the tickets, going out there, chilling out with the fans and talking to them, getting excited about some pro wrestling. Man, I cannot wait. It's been too damn long. December 7th seems like forever ago. This is the longest stretch we've had in a long time between Prairie Pro Wrestling shows, and I got to say, I bloody well miss it, Papa Smokes.
Oh, very much so. And you talk about a long streak in between shows. Not only was it many days off the calendar, but right in the doldrums of winter out here in Western Canada. I mean, it's been December was a long, cold month. January was long and cold. February has already been freezingly cold with a whole bunch of snow. It's winter in Canada as every year, but some of those days and weeks and months really drag by, especially when you're waiting for the next wrestling show. So yes, I'm also really excited. One of the best parts for me is seeing the nation, seeing who's coming. It's so many of the same people because we have return customers that love the action. They want to see what's going to happen. But always there are those that we don't recognize. We like them to come out and check it out. Come to your first live wrestling show. If you've never been to one, this is the way to do it because you're up close to the action. You can see the faces and the facial expressions. You can hear everything that's said, including all the impacts and all the chops and all the backs against the turnbuckles. And then sometimes you might get up closer than that too, because the action will spill out of the ring sometimes. And heavens, possibly even over the rail into the crowd. We've seen that a couple of times too. Excuse me. And that's an especially big thrill for fans. Get out of the way because here they come, and it's a rush. It's a complete and utter rush to have them brawling all around you in the crowd. Awesome stuff.
You bet. My son is counting down the days. Tell little Bass to start marking it on his calendar. Get ready for the excitement and make sure that you get up close because you might just be fortunate enough to see that jerk El Assassino get the taste slapped out of his mouth. And then we can all give one big fuck yeah at the end of that one. But looking forward to seeing you all out. It's going to be a blast. Papa Smokes, buy merch. Help the wrestlers out. I might make fun of El Assassino, but some that help him out, reach out, buy his t-shirt. Buy everybody's t-shirts, buy their pictures, whatever you can do to support these guys, because you know what? They don't get paid enough to do what they do, putting their bodies on the line like they do, Papa Smokes. They do it for the love of the sport, and they do it for the love of the nation as well, too. They also do it because they're eyeing up the gold. So going to be fortunate to see some great matches coming up on Saturday, February the 22nd. If you're unable to join us live, make sure that you're tuned in to Prairie Pro Wrestling over on the YouTube side of things so you can catch a new match where Papa Smokes and I are on commentary each and every Saturday afternoon. But Papa Smokes, we're getting to the top of the hour here. It's time for us to call it a night, make some way in a little bit for our good friends over the Honor Ramble to take over your late night talk show fun. But in the meantime and in between time, Papa Smokes, hit the people up with your expensive ticker and tell them where they can find you.
Oh, yeah, baby. I can be found on Elon Musk's free speech wonderland known as X. I am at Smokes_Papa. I'm also on Twitch at Papa_Smokes_.
That's the Papa Smokes side. As for myself, Bobby Munson over the X Real Bobby Munson, Instagram, Threads, Video Bros SK, Twitch, Video Bro _Bobby Munson over on the blue sky. Just look for Bobby Munson. You'll find me over there. What have I got coming up? Oh man, I got a few things. So next week is my debut on the channel Horror Facts. So you're going to be able to hear me in podcast form with a couple of my good friends over at Horror Facts, giving you a podcast all about horror movies. It is the Knife in the Dark podcast from Horror Facts. I am on there with Joey, Justin, and Alvin. And Alvin maybe watched the very first Scream movie, possibly for the first time. There's a whole lot of laughter to be had, but I want you to check it out and check out the surprises that come along with that particular episode. This Sunday on Point of View, I know Mark is not going to be available. I'm not sure what the plan is just yet, but as always, you can catch Point of View. I'll be there for sure, and I'll be rocking something for you guys. Saturdays, myself, Papa Smokes, over on Prairie Pro Wrestling. And then I've also got a couple of interviews lined up, Papa Smokes, for the Let's Rock About It music interviews as well too. I'm going to have my good buddy Brad Scrivener sitting down with me very shortly to talk all about his music with Chainfire, to talk about the recordings he does over at his own studio, Scriv Studios, and just shoot the shit about some stories about when him and I were hitting the music scene at the same time and how we got to know each other. And then from there, Papa Smoke, somebody that you're familiar with as well too, our good friend NJ and I just had a conversation, and NJ not only just released his latest single, he's also got another song that's coming out in March here that's a little bit more on the heavier side, a little bit more on the rock side, and it is going to be an exclusive new theme song for Prairie Pro Wrestling's YouTube channel. So my third guest on that show is going to be NJ. We're going to be talking about music. We're going to be talking about that new song, and we might even drop said new song on there for you guys. And yes, good night to you, Mr. McWiggin. Thank you for coming out. And yes, you'll be able to check those shows out that I've got coming up very soon. And where can you check out all this stuff? Oh, fuck yeah, you can check it out on OLE Podcast. You can check us out on all social media as well as YouTube and Twitch at our local establishment. Make sure to like, follow, subscribe, all those wonderful things. And if you're watching on replay right here on YouTube, make sure to leave us a comment, give us a thumbs up, and turn on that notification bell so you know when we have new material coming out here on the channel, which damn near pretty much every single day. But that's going to be it this week for myself and Papa Smokes. Take care, and we'll see you next Thursday night.